there's been a lot of progress, and there's also a lot of progress through trade that has happened
Yeah.
through this order, trade and then cooperation. All
Right.
right, so that was my as fast as I could go through some of it, and I'm sure it was a history of omission there.
Right. No,
So
that's,
where are
yeah,
we
that
now,
sounds
Tim?
hard. Yeah.
That was really hard. It was but it was a good challenge. I
Yeah.
mean, you and I talked about before this in the first Iraq War, in the George
Oh, yeah.
Bush presidency. At least there was an attempt at multilateralism.
Yep.
There was an attempt for the U.S. to go to the UN and say, hey, we need to work together. We need to sign an agreement. Let's get a coalition together and let's go into Iraq. And of course, we knew it was based, on this whole weapons of mass destruction, which didn't exist.
Right.
But we,
Well, yeah, and there's 1991 and there's 2003, and
right.
so 19, and if you don't mind me picking up on that,
Go ahead.
because I think it's a good example, and one that most people, at least of a certain age, are familiar with. You might remember that it started with Iraq invading Kuwait,
Right.
and they must have assumed that they would get away with it,
Yep.
and the U.S. really did put together a worldwide
They did.
coalition,
Yep.
and they didn't try to overthrow the government.
Nope.
They just made sure that
Yep.
that Iraq left Kuwait. I didn't support the war at the time, right?
Nope.
But looking back, I see that as, although not perfect, a real implementation of the rules-based global order,
Yeah.
and one that we wished, a reaction that we wished would have happened when Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, what happened there, Tim? So Russia walks into Crimea, and reminiscent. I'm thinking of Hitler, the Germans,
Right.
marching into all kinds of countries in Europe, and not just the Sudetenland and some of these other areas, right?
Right.
And people
Czechoslovakia.
people stand by. People
Right.
stand
The
by.
other when you say
Nothing
people, you
happens.
mean the other countries. Yeah.
Yeah,
And there was
the
a
people,
lot of
these other
reasons.
nations.
Right. There were a lot of reasons why countries didn't go to war with Germany at the time. Um, but we recognize now that that appeasement didn't work. And I thought of that when it was 2014-ish.